Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are stepping into, well, one of the most high stakes, really pressure cooker educational markets
Wait.
anywhere. The private tutoring sector in Bangladesh.
It's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just massive. And, driven by this intense parental expectation where getting that top exam score,
Yeah,
it feels like the only thing that matters.
exactly.
Yeah.
So let me ask you listening right now, if you are working in this environment, or maybe you're supporting someone who is, are your lessons, are they dominated by just preparing rote notes, demanding endless repetition, those last-minute cramming sessions?
Mm.
Because the problem with that, well, it's pretty simple, isn't it? Students might scrape through the test, maybe, but do they actually develop confidence or critical thinking? Can they use that knowledge a few weeks down the line?
Right. If they pass but don't really get it,
Yeah,
that's a big issue.
it really is.
It's that classic tension,
Yeah.
urgency versus actual mastery. The immediate pressure for the result just pushes real learning off the table.
Mhm.
Which brings us to the big question for today, I think. How can tutors in this incredibly high-demand system move beyond just being, answer providers?
Yeah.
How do they become real guides who build that long-term confidence, that intellectual independence?
That is precisely our mission for this deep dive. And it's drawn from research being pulled together for the Teacher Voices series. The one with the tagline, Stories, Evidence, Change.
Right.
We're going deep into material specifically tailored for the Bangladeshi context by evidence-based teacher development. And that's EDTD.
And look, we're not talking about fancy, expensive tech here. Not at all. We're looking at low-cost, high-impact strategies, stuff that comes straight from cognitive science.
Proven stuff.
Proven methods, from decades of research, and making them practical tools that, tutors on the ground in Bangladesh can use right now to really boost retention and build knowledge that actually lasts.
Okay, so let's get into it. Segment 1, the rote problem and the evidence-based solution. Let's unpack the reality first. The sources, they acknowledge that this high demand for tutoring, well, it often just keeps these outdated practices going, doesn't it?
It does. You see this mountain of material students are just expected to memorize. It's exhausting for them, and honestly, pretty inefficient for the tutors, too.
And that reliance on just memorizing facts, it creates a real vulnerability, right?
Totally. It sets them up for specific questions, maybe, but throw them a curveball, a new type of problem on the exam, they're lost.
No critical thinking built up.
Exactly. No confidence either. So EBPD's core idea really challenges this. It says, look, tutoring should be preparing students for life, not just the next exam.
That's a big shift.
It is. And it means adopting methods grounded in solid research.
Okay, so if we agree the current model often falls short, what does this evidence-based replacement actually look like? What are the specific tools cognitive science gives tutors?
Well, the foundation for effective lasting learning really rests on 5 core strategies. We'll get into these today. They are retrieval practice, which is all about strengthening memory. Then spaced practice, making sure learning sticks over time. Targeted feedback, actual useful feedback. Metacognition, teaching students how to manage their own learning. And finally, active learning, getting the student really involved.
Right. 5 key areas. Let's dive into those in segment 2. High-impact strategies, the aha moments.
Sounds good.
Start with the first 2. They seem closely linked, dealing with how we build and keep knowledge. First up, retrieval practice. We often think learning means passively taking stuff in, right? Rereading notes, copying things down.
The standard approach.
Yeah, but retrieval practice flips that. It's about actively pulling information out, like quizzes, asking questions out loud, flashcards, that kind of thing.
And this is where the evidence just becomes, you can't ignore it.
Yeah.
There was this landmark study, Rote and Karpik, back in 2006. They showed students who practiced active recall did up to, wait for it, 50% better on tests later on.
50%.
50% better, compared to the ones who just reread their notes over and over.
Wow. Okay, 50% better that's not just a little improvement, that's massive. But hang on, is that kind of result sustainable? Does that 50% really hold up outside a lab, when a student's stressed, cramming for an exam in Dhaka?
That's a fair question. But the mechanism behind it, they call it the testing effect. It's really robust. It's the effort involved in recalling the information. That's what strengthens the memory pathway in the brain.
Ah, okay. So it's the act of trying to remember.
Precisely. And the practical takeaway for a tutor, it's simple and incredibly powerful. Start every single session with maybe 5 quick recall questions from last time.
Just 5 minutes.
Yeah, low cost, takes 5 minutes max. And you literally watch students' confidence grow as they realize, hey, I know this, without even opening their book.
I like that. And retrieval practice, you said it works closely with the second strategy, spaced
Hand in
practice.
hand, yeah.
Because lots of tutors and students, too, they cram maybe 2 weeks of stuff into one massive session right before the test. Why is spacing it out better?
Think of memory
Hmm.
like wet cement. If you pour everything in all at once, it just doesn't set properly. It's a mess.
Right.
Spacing learning sessions out over time. It forces the brain to retrieve that information again and again. It fights against that natural forgetting curve we all have. The research is clear. Even short, regular intervals are way more effective than cramming everything into one marathon session.
So the practical thing here is just building in short check-ins across different days, maybe mixing up subjects a bit.
Exactly. Creating kind of rhythm of learning rather than just that mad dash at the end.
Yeah, makes sense. It tells the student learning is ongoing, not just this one horrible pre-exam panic.
Precisely. It changes the whole mindset.
Okay, let's shift gears to the third strategy, metacognition. Now this one sounds a bit academic, thinking about thinking, but you suggested it might be the most powerful tool for building independence.
I really think it is. It sounds jargony, but metacognition is basically about empowering the learner to become their own teacher.
How so?
It means helping them, plan how they're going to tackle a problem, monitor their own understanding while they're working, and then evaluate what worked, what didn't afterwards.
Okay.
Flavel's original work on this showed it's like the key difference between novices and experts in any field. Experts know how they learn.
And the data backs this up strongly.
Oh, absolutely. The EWF guidance report, that's the Education Endowment Foundation, a major research group they estimated back in 2018, that explicitly teaching these metacognitive strategies can add, on average, about 7 months' worth of progress in a single year.
7 months? That's huge.
Huge, and especially beneficial for students from more disadvantaged backgrounds.
Okay, that sounds amazing. But let's be real about the pressure tutors are under. If you're juggling, say, 20 students a day, how do you find the time to constantly ask, so what strategy did you use there? Isn't it just faster to point out the mistake and move on?
That's the core tension again, isn't it? It feels faster to just give the answer, but it's actually deeply inefficient for long-term learning.
So it's an investment.
Exactly. That metacognitive prompt, it's an investment. Instead of just correcting, you guide. After they finish a math problem, you ask, okay, what steps did you plan out first? Why did you pick that formula? And hey, if you got stuck next time, what else could you try?
Right. Guiding them to think it through themselves.
Yes. This builds learners who are self-regulated. Learners who eventually won't need the tutor quite so much. And isn't that the ultimate goal?
Good point. Okay, strategy number 4, actionable feedback. We often see feedback as just a grade or a red tick, maybe some vague praise like good job.
Yeah, nice work. Doesn't really help much.
Right. But the sources talk about a much more structured, effective 3-part model. Feed up, feedback, and feed forward. Can you break that down?
Sure. Feed up is about clarifying the goal. What were they trying to achieve? Feedback is the core part. Where are they now in relation to that goal? What needs adjustment? And feed forward is crucial. What are the specific next steps they need to take to close that gap?
That structure sounds vital.
It is. John Hattie's, famous research synthesis puts feedback right up there as one of the biggest influences on achievement. Huge effect size, D equals 0.73.
Wow.
But, and this is a big but, that impact only happens when the feedback is targeted and actionable. Vague praise, general criticism. Research shows they have almost zero effect. It has to be clear. It has to tell them what to do.
Okay, so give us an example. Instead of a tutor just scribbling wrong on a physics problem, what's the better way, the actionable way?
Be diagnostic. Acknowledge the effort, but pinpoint the specific fixable error. Maybe try something like, okay, look, your method here is spot on right up to this point now. Just check that final calculation against the gravitational constant given in the diagram.
Ah, I see. So it tells them what to check.
Exactly. It tells the student, you're capable, you're almost there, you just missed this one small thing. It's constructive, not just critical.
Much more encouraging, too. Okay, finally, the 5th pillar, active learning. This sounds like getting away from the tutor just talking at the student.
Precisely. It's about shifting the dynamic. Away from the tutor lecturing and the student passively just soaking it up or pretending to.
Right.
Active learning means the student is constantly doing something, questioning, discussing, solving problems, maybe even debating a point.
So what's a practical tool here?
Could be as simple as asking the student to teach the concept back to you, Or maybe set up a quick mini debate based on a history topic. The point is, when students have to actively synthesize, organize, and articulate information themselves.
I have to really understand it.
Exactly. They stop just repeating notes and start genuinely owning the material.
Okay, those 5 strategies: retrieval, spacing, metacognition, feedback, active learning, they sound incredibly powerful. But the big question is, how does a tutor, especially one working in a really demanding local market like Bangladesh, translate all this research into something, well, credible, something marketable?
That's precisely what evidence-based teacher development, EBTD, is trying to address by creating this clear, tiered professional pathway.
Right, giving tutors a way to show their expertise.
Exactly. It lets them professionalize, build real credibility in what can be a very crowded market. It starts with Tier 1, the Foundation Tutor Award. That one's priced at BDT 3,000.
And who's that aimed at? New tutors.
Yeah, ideal for new tutors, or those in the early stages. It really focuses on the fundamentals: professional ethics, how to structure a lesson properly, mastering those core strategies we just talked about, retrieval practice and spacing especially. Plus, it covers essential skills like communication, inclusion, and even using basic tech and AI tools effectively. The goal is to produce a confident, well-prepared tutor who can deliver professional, structured sessions right away.
Makes sense. Then you move up to Tier 2, the Advanced Tutor Certificate. That's BDT 4000. This sounds like where experienced tutors really hone their craft.
Yes, Tier 2 goes much deeper. It's about adding those more complex layers to really accelerate student results.
Yeah.
Here, tutors learn advanced strategies like interleaving.
Interleaving. What's that?
It basically means mixing up different subjects or types of problems within a study session, rather than just blocking practice on one thing. It feels harder for the student initially, but it forces their brain to work harder to retrieve the right strategy, which leads to much more flexible and durable learning. And they also learn about dual coding.
Dual coding.
That's about combining visuals like diagrams or timelines with verbal explanations or text. Using both channels helps embed the information more deeply in memory.
Okay. Using words and pictures together.
Essentially, yes. Plus, in Tier 2, they master that 3-part feedback model we discussed, learn advanced techniques for motivation and managing behavior, and even cover intercultural communication, which can be really important.
Yeah, that makes sense. And knowing the names for these things like interleaving and dual coding and understanding the why behind them, that must make a big difference for an experienced tutor, right? It's not just guessing anymore.
Absolutely. That BDT 4000 investment buys mastery. It equips tutors with strategies proven to build genuinely independent, confident learners who can tackle any challenge, not just the predictable questions on the next test paper.
Got it. And then, for the real leaders, the mentors, there's Tier 3, the Tutor Leader Diploma priced at BDT 5,000.
That's right. This is for the most experienced tutors who are ready to step up and influence others. The focus here shifts completely to leadership skills, mentoring newer tutors, and learning how to design effective tutoring programs.
So shaping the wider sector.
Exactly. It's for those who want to raise standards across the board in Bangladesh, become recognized leaders in the field.
Thinking about the workload tutors manage all those students, the parental expectations, these prices, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, taka, they seem pretty reasonable as an investment. What's the real return beyond just getting a certificate?
The return is your market position. Simple as that.
Yeah.
In such a high-stakes environment, more and more parents are looking for quality, not just cheap cramming.
They want results that last.
They do. And having a professional certification, one that's grounded in actual evidence, it changes how you market yourself overnight. It signals you're offering something different, something more effective than just rote learning. It attracts the kind of parents who value and are willing to pay for real quality and long-term development.
And the courses themselves, they're designed to fit around a busy tutor schedule.
Yes, absolutely. They're all flexible, self-paced online learning. Typically, it's about 20 hours of work in total, spread over maybe 6 to 8 weeks. So manageable.
And crucially, adapted for Bangladesh.
Critically important, yes. They use the best global research, but everything is adapted. The examples, the case studies, the context, it's all tailored specifically for the realities of the Bangladeshi curriculum and culture.
Okay, great. Let's wrap up then. Segment 4, outro.
Right.
So, to kind of summarize our deep dive today, it feels like the future of effective tutoring, especially in these high-pressure environments, is really shifting, isn't it?
Definitely. It's moving away from just focusing on that short-term goal, passing the next exam, towards the much bigger long-term goal of fostering genuine understanding.
And that shift is powered by these simple but high-impact evidence-based methods we've talked about, like retrieval practice, like metacognition.
And becoming fluent in using these strategies, and crucially, earning a recognized professional certificate to prove you have that knowledge. Well, that's how a tutor stands out.
Goes from being just one in the
To
crowd.
being a sought-after expert, yeah. Boosting both their credibility and, let's be honest, potentially their income, too.
It means becoming the kind of guide every parent is actually looking for and delivering the kind of learning experience every student truly benefits from and remembers.
Which leads us nicely into our final provocative thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Okay.
If decades of solid research clearly show that simple tweaks in how we teach, like spending just 2 minutes on active recall, are significantly more powerful than hours spent passively rereading, then what assumptions about hard work and preparation are we still clinging to? Assumptions that might actually be holding our students back.
A challenging thought.
It is. The evidence is there. The strategies are clear. The only real barrier left is making that shift in our own practice, both for our students and for ourselves as professionals.